Yo, what's up, wisdom warriors? Welcome back to Ancient Wisdom. We've journeyed with Socrates, the question master, explored Plato's world of forms, and now get ready for the final member of the philosophical Avengers, Aristotle. This guy was Plato's star student, but he wasn't afraid to forge his own path. He was the original science nerd, the master of observation, and he basically laid the foundation for, well, a lot of stuff. So, ditch the distractions, grab your brain, and let's get Aristotelian. Aristotle was a total genius. I mean, total. He studied with Plato for years, soaking up all that philosophical goodness. But while he respected Plato, he wasn't entirely sold on the whole world of forms thing. Aristotle was a pragmatist. He was all about the real world, the world we can see, touch, and measure. He was a master of observation, classifying everything, from plants and animals to, well, pretty much everything. He was like the ancient Greek equivalent of a super-organized scientist, but with way broader interests. Think of him as the original David Attenborough. But instead of narrating nature documentaries, he was writing philosophical treatises and teaching Alexander the Great. Talk about a resume. Aristotle believed that everything has a purpose, a telos. He thought that understanding this purpose was key to understanding the thing itself. It's like he's saying everything is trying to become its best self, its most perfect form. A tiny acorn's telos is to become a mighty oak tree. A tadpole's telos is to become a frog. And a human's telos, well, that's a bit more complicated, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the point is, Aristotle saw the world as a giant puzzle, and he was determined to figure out how all the pieces fit together. He was like the Sherlock Holmes of philosophy. But instead of solving crimes, he was solving the mysteries of the universe. He was like elementary, my dear Cosmos. Aristotle's contributions are insane. He basically laid the foundation for logic, ethics, politics, physics, biology, you name it. He was like the original Renaissance man, except he lived way before the Renaissance. He invented formal logic, the system of reasoning we still use today. He gave us tools like syllogisms. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. And I think it's the basis of all logical arguments, from math problems to courtroom debates. He was like, "Okay, world, let's get logical." He studied animals, classifying them into different groups and making groundbreaking discoveries about their anatomy and behavior. He was basically the first zoologist. He even wrote about poetry, drama, and rhetoric, analyzing what makes a good story and how to persuade people. He was like the ultimate multitasker, juggling a million different intellectual projects and making it all look easy. He was basically the ancient Greek equivalent of a multi-hyphenate superstar. Let's talk logic. Aristotle's system of logic was revolutionary. He formalized the rules of reasoning, making it possible to analyze arguments and determine whether they were valid or not. He introduced concepts like deduction and induction, which are still fundamental to how we think and argue today. He was obsessed with clarity and precision, believing that clear thinking was essential for both knowledge and virtue. He was like, "All right, world, let's get our arguments straight." He also explored fallacies, common errors in reasoning, so we could avoid being tricked by bad arguments. He was like, "Beware the logical trap. Let's talk friendship." Aristotle considered friendship to be one of the most important aspects of a good life. He distinguished between different types of friendship. from friendships based on utility to friendships based on virtue. He believed that true friendship was based on mutual respect, admiration, and shared values. He thought that having good friends was essential for both happiness and self-improvement. He was like, "Friends are the family you choose, so choose wisely. They're your support system, your sounding board, your partners in crime." Philosophically speaking, of course. And finally, let's talk politics. Aristotle believed that the purpose of the state was to promote the good life for its citizens. He analyzed different types of government, from monarchy to tyranny, and argued that the best form of government was polity, a balanced system that combined elements of democracy and oligarchy. He was wary of extremes, believing that both the rule of the mob and the rule of a few elites could lead to injustice and instability. He believed that the best government was one that served the common good and protected the rights of all citizens. He was like the original political scientist trying to figure out the best way to organize society. He was like, "Okay, people, let's talk governance. Let's create a society where everyone can flourish, where everyone can reach their full potential, their telos." Aristotle's influence is massive. He's one of the pillars of Western thought, like a giant intellectual redwood tree. His ideas have shaped everything from science to politics to how we think about the good life. He emphasized observation, reason, and the importance of living a balanced life. He's the reason we still study biology, use logic in our arguments, and strive for ethical behavior. He's the philosophical godfather of everything from scientific research to self-help books. So, next time you're trying to figure out the right thing to do, remember Aristotle, the master of balance, the guy who showed us that virtue is the key to happiness. He's the philosophical scientist who brought logic and reason to the forefront of Western thought. And that's just the beginning. This is ancient wisdom, and we're just getting started. We've explored Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, the philosophical giants who shaped our world. But there are so many more incredible thinkers to discover. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on this philosophical adventure. We're going to be exploring all the giants of ancient thought, from Plato and Aristotle to, well, you'll just have to wait and see. Stay curious, keep questioning, and we'll catch you in the next episode.